Live.
All right. Hi, everyone. I'm David. I'm a Senior Customer Success Manager here at Preview 3D. I'm here to help you customers unlock the full potential of your 3D data, transforming scans into living, actionable data assets. And today we're going to show you just how fast and intuitive that process can be.
Great. And I'm Jay Ure, Director of Customer Success. Our team works closely with organizations to help them scale their digital twin initiatives, from early scanning pilots to enterprise level integrations, asset ecosystems. What you'll see in this demo today is how Preview 3D helps bridge the journey, turning reality capture into structured, connected, and persistent operational intelligence. So let's get started with a quick overview of Preview 3D's ecosystem. A lot has changed over the past few months, and if you've known us mainly as a meshing engine, this diagram will show just how much broader our platform has become. It gives a clear view of the entire ecosystem and highlights where we'll be focusing our energy. RealityTwin and the operational reality connectors for metadata and asset tracking are the focus of today's webinar. And to kind of help set that stage, we're going to do a deeper dive with a quick sense of where your organization is in their digital twin journey. Your responses kind of help tailor today's session and our ongoing support for matching the current stage of your digital twin adoption. So we have a quick poll that we'll put up there. Take a moment to read through the options on the screen and choose the one that best describes your organization's approach. This will kind of be active throughout the entire session, and we'll go back to it at the end as well. Perfect. So continuing with the ecosystem diagram, the overview of RealityTwin environment, which exists up here in the upper right-hand side, will show and highlight today the reality capture process, point cloud scan data, to mesh reality assets as semantic layers or layers with meaning, integration layers, data bridges, connecting those to the third-party applications through our reality connector, and then show where the asset data and the metadata live. Emphasis will be on connecting persistent digital environments, exactly kind of what you've known from the front-end side, but this is now on the back-end side. So we're thinking of this as a transformation of your 3D scan into a living operational model, right? One where every valve, pump, and panel is identified, contextualized, and connected. This is a true scan to insight workflow, combining segmentation, semantic assets, metadata templates, enterprise integrations, persistent context, and intelligent search into a single continuous experience. All right. Without further ado, David's going to illustrate a rapid segmentation and kind of go through what we do to generate a reality asset, and then how we tie those reality assets right back into the metadata of your operational use.
Yep, sure. So I guess you guys can see my screen now. I'm in RealityTwin. This is the environment of a water treatment facility. So I'm just going to show you how we can create reality assets from the data. As you can see, we can use different tools. Over here, I'm just going to use the manual box mode. First thing I need to do is select this pump here. As you can see, the more I zoom in, the more the size of the box is adapted to the geometry. So I can simply click the surface and adapt the size to the asset. So this is really just to start. If one box is not sufficient, you can add another one. There you go. Once we're done, you can create the reality asset. So I'm going to call this one U101. As you can see, I can select an asset type for this particular asset. I have predefined the vertical inline pump asset type. I'll show you later how we do that. But once I do it and confirm, you can see that my asset is now listed under the entities. And if I select it, you can see on the right panel the metadata that's attached this particular asset. As you probably know, if you've been following other webinars, the layer that's been added on top of the mesh is really what serves to capture the metadata. So if any changes comes further in the composition of the environment, this remains exactly where it's at, and the metadata stays attached to your asset. I can quickly create another one for this other pump over here. There you go. Let's have another box for that junction box over here. There you go. U102. Again, vertical inline pump and confirm. Also, as you can see, the identification and functional metadata are not just linked to the asset yet. I'll show you how to create that in just a few moments. I'm going to show you also how to create a metadata a reality asset using the magic wand, which is the other tool that we have. This one is really helps you select the surfaces and defines the volume for you. Again, you can just readjust the geometry as you wish before you can, sorry about that, confirm it. This one is going to be CMP 1. I'm going to change that asset type to air compressor over here. Here we go.
Great. We have our first question. Do you have to define the asset in RealityTwin, or can you do it from RealityPlan as well? This direction is a bi-directional approach. We're still working through a lot of those segmentation aspects from RealityPlan desktop to RealityTwin, but with our help internally, we can get those assets into RealityTwin for you. Yep. And then another really exciting one here is, can the asset types come directly from our geodatabase, or do we have to copy the asset type from our GIS and enter them into RealityTwin? So we are really early on the journey with Esri. We just spoke with some people at a conference in Germany. So we'll look for that integration here shortly. There's probably ways that we can kind of export some of that data and get it massaged, but no promises yet. Certainly reach out and we can talk about this at a deeper level.
Yep. So before we go any further, let me show you how we define those asset types. I'm going to pivot to the platform over here in the settings.
Right. So Reality Platform is that central console that kind of starts the entire operation. Upload that mesh data or that point cloud data, process it to mesh, create your projects. And then in here, you also have the ability to generate your users and permissions and security, and then your asset types.
Right. Thanks, Jay. So as you can see, there's a section called Asset Settings. In there, you have asset types and integrations. So the first thing you will see is a way to define the asset types. So the asset types can be separated into categories. For the benefit of this demo over here, I created two, vertical inline pump and compressor. So these two can be, if I select one of the two, as you can see, we can add sections of metadata to this particular asset type. Some of them can be user defined. Some of them can come from, integration. I only added some from the integration for this type, but you can add another section and you could add any type of manually entered values that you like. Any type of value. It's a numeric short text external link as well, attachments. You can attach a file if you have a data sheet to that specific equipment, and so forth. Not going to use it for now. The other section is the integration sections. I'll come back to this one in a second. So the integration is really where you define your server, where you want to pull the information to populate your metadata. So once you've defined that, this can be this may look a bit different on a customer's side, but we've defined ourselves a demo integration server that's going to simulate data coming from a VivaPi. So if we go back to this asset type, the vertical inline pump, we can define an integration link, and this integration link can go pull information from the server that we've defined. The integration link can pull from multiple sources. So you can, for instance, define identification metadata for your asset that will come from one source and functional information that will come from another source. In this case, we're using the exact same source for both of these sections, but you could decide to do differently if that's what you need. So basically, once this has been defined, the user will need, once the asset type has been defined, to enter the asset ID and the category of the metadata they want to pull. If I go back to the environment over here, this is what it looks like. So you have the asset ID and the category. So if I'm pulling the information for my pump number 1, and the category would be, and as you can see, the information gets populated automatically. We can do the same for pump number 2. So as you can see, some of this information is static, like the equipment tag, the manufacturer, the model number, etc. Some of it is dynamic, so it gets updated in real time. This obviously is simulated values, but you can imagine that you could pull some real-time operation data from your assets in the field without having, with all the visual context that you can see over here.
That's great. I think it's important to note that the level of which your data is being reported is a function of your organization, the historian that you're pulling it from, and the product you're pulling it from. We will have the ability to adjust based on a time criteria, but certainly your organization's risk management might have a specific criteria that you need to follow. And by all means, we're here to help bridge that gap for you guys.
All right. So as you can see, yeah, so we, again, we can define and easily navigate through the environment. And I could show you what this looks like in another environment that's been predefined. Of course, you've seen this one probably a couple times. We see assets that have been, again, predefined, and we can really double click and navigate to the assets very easily to see the metadata for this particular asset. This is what it could look like once it's fully populated. You have the, again, the spec sheet, the file link that I wanted to talk to you about earlier. You can also pull maintenance and lifecycle information, such as last maintenance date, installation date, and stuff like that, if your historian provides such data.
Right. And I think our vision here is a living contextualized world, one that stays kind of intact as everything around it evolves. And the beauty of these reality assets, it's a separate data layer. So every time you go out and you do a rescan, and you add that information, your reality assets are not changing. What we're changing behind the scenes is either a refresh of the data behind it, the actual PCD and the mesh information, or we're adding additional information to the environment for an expansion, retrofit, and things of that nature. So we really want this operational system that will grow and update with your reality within your organization.
And I guess that's all we had to show today. Jay, do we have some questions in the poll?
Yeah, we have a few more questions here. Is there a way your
Gotcha.
platform automatically identifies assets? I can see mapping individual assets in plant will take more time. How does it work? Assuming the plant aspect is maybe Plant 3D from Autodesk. So with a lot of different ways that we're going to streamline this for our customers. We simply just need to kind of understand a little bit more about each individual customer and what they need. And we'll be able to kind of help facilitate the growth of that reality asset, the metadata, and the twin within the entire ecosystem here at Preview 3D. I think the next one is, how do we handle when the same asset is called by different names in different systems? I think the systems themselves will have that different integration hook, and that integration hook will be the function behind the asset ID. So when you have multiple systems, as long as they're in, say, SAP and SQL, or SAP and AWS IoT systems, or Aviva Pi, and they have the same ID, as long as it's pointing to the right metadata tool through Reality Connect, it shouldn't be an issue. And then, can the assets be converted into Revit family? If so, will they remain editable after conversion? All right, so that is the front end of our environment. And on the front end of the environment, we have the ability to pull and push these assets to individual applications with an API that's coming. SDK, you'll be able to actually generate them for your own applications as needed. But we have Revit, Inventor, we have Plant 3D, MicroStation, and a few others. What you can do is you can take those assets directly into Revit. You can take the entire mesh, the entire point cloud, or individual reality assets that you have created directly into Revit. You can either back model them, or you can use them as existing context and then just model directly off of that mesh. So there's a couple different ways that customers are utilizing that, and it's really a function of scope, meaning, and what they need from a time constraint. Fantastic. I think the result here is faster asset identification and reduced manual tagging. I think when we look at this, when we look at a segmentation aspect, yeah, depending on the environment, it could take some time. We're working on a lot of other tools that will kind of help streamline this. Julie, maybe you can put back up the Preview 3D product ecosystem. We can kind of review that too as we take a couple more questions and or take a look at the poll. But here we start with the platform, right? So we're looking at all of the PCD information that we accept, whether it's a TLS, a SLAM, or a photogrammetry tool. We'll accept that into Reality Platform. From that, it goes into a specific device-based upload. That upload is then generating a mesh and a project. That mesh goes directly into Reality Twin. The project goes directly into Reality Plan. The mesh and the project are tied because the mesh and the project are already part of each other through the Reality Platform. You can then push information and pull information directly from and into your CAD, BIM, and simulation applications, and then do your engineering design layout in Reality Plan. And then Reality Twin, you have the ability to generate these or use the existing reality assets and connect them to the third-party ERPs, PLMs, IoT types of solutions. Let's see here. Do we have any more questions here? Is it possible for the asset to sync with an asset management platform like Maximo and also support direct data entity? Excuse me. So on the diagram on the upper right-hand side, I think you saw IBM, and the IBM logo is a simulation of Maximo. So Maximo is something that a lot of people are going to want to connect to, specifically in these large facility management solutions. So we are building that in, and that is really going to be a function of what you need on the individual project or organizational level. And then I think one last question here before we go to the poll. Why would you still need a Revit model? And that's a great question. I think a lot of people have a different idea for Revit. Some people are using it directly for projects and construction drawings and redesign. Some of our organizations are scanning their facilities, and their facilities are so large that in order to do a Revit model from it would take a lot more time than just using the meshed environment as a whole. So a lot of different things can happen in there, and you can simply just do the scan, have the meshed environment, and use that as your reality assets and your digital twin for the information. Or you can then at some point when you have the budget or the time or the resources, you just push it back into Revit, back model it, and then you can simply replace everything directly in the reality plan and push that directly into RealityTwin so that you have that CAD environment directly within the platform itself. So a lot of different ways to deal with that from a cost perspective, from a time perspective, from a level of effort perspective. All right, and here we are. Close it out with the poll. How would you describe your organization's current digital twin or asset data maturity? I think the leader here is exploring scanning only. Makes sense. Followed by connecting the live digital twin and then developing some asset data. And then last, evaluating planning stage. Well, I think that kind of plays out in true life and kind of where I'm at, specifically with a lot of conversations that I'm having with a lot of folks out there. Where are they at in their journey? They're still trying to figure out how they're going to capture. And with Preview 3D, you can start with a small Insta360 or Rico Theta camera, upload that through that device-based upload, and then start building out your environment until you actually get the resources to pull in a RTC or a high-quality SLAM or other types of information from different resources or vendors. So we really want to kind of open the platform up to be a lower barrier to entry and provide the environment for every organization out there based on what they have from resources, based on what they have from technology. So fantastic. Well, thank you guys for attending today's webinar. We'll be having more of these in the future. If we didn't get to your questions, we will certainly do so as a follow-up. So stay tuned. We'll get more information to you as we can.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks for attending.
Thanks, David.
Thanks, Jay.